Joining us now is former Congressman J.D. Hayworth. Former Congressman Hayworth, thanks so much for joining us, sir. We appreciate your time.
Hi, Rick. Thanks, and please call me J.D.
All right, there you go, J.D. Are you doing this? Making so much of your campaign about the immigration issue because it's politically expedient, pure and simple?
Oh, no, indeed, Rick. In fact, I'm running for the Senate because Arizona Republicans and Arizona conservatives want to have a consistent conservative in the Senate. You may recall that 5 years ago, as a member of the House, I introduced the Enforcement First Act that just simply said, let's enforce existing law, much like SB 1070 here in Arizona. Also, we just have some disagreements with John McCain. He was for the bailout. I was against it. He authored the cap and trade legislation of the last Congress.
No, I get that.
That's an ill-advised solution in search of a problem. But
Congressman,
to the extent that
you can't deny that, you know, I mean, if I was to go there and look at your campaign ads, I'd get a sense, man, this guy's putting it all on this immigration thing. He's convinced that this thing's going to be a win. In fact, here, we've got one of them. This is your last ad. Raj, do you have that? Let's let the viewers watch this.
I helped author with Senator Kennedy comprehensive immigration reform and fought for it twice.
I stood with Ted Kennedy and John McCain and took on this tough issue.
McCain's amnesty bill would cost $2.6 trillion, rewarding illegal aliens with Social Security and Medicare benefits. Had enough? J.D. Hayworth led the fight against McCain's amnesty bill, wrote the book on securing our border, and is endorsed by Sheriff Joe Arpaio.
I'm J.D. Hayworth, and I approve this message.
You know what the thing is about that ad? I'll just be real straight with you. That ad could have run at any time in our history. And all you had to do was take out the pictures of the Mexicans and replace them with pictures of Germans or Jews or Irish or Italians. Getting Americans...
No, sir.
Well, let me tell you something. Let me tell you
something.
Getting some Americans to turn on the latest immigrant group to get off the boat doesn't exactly require a lot of intellectual prowess. I mean,
Rick,
aren't you picking the low-flying fruit here?
No, Rick. Rick, you are absolutely wrong. And let me explain why. Throughout what you were mentioning, the litany of people coming to the country, they did so orderly.
Yeah.
Many of them through a place called Ellis Island.
Well, let me ask you a question.
No,
I'm going to stop. No, I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stop you right there. These people, did they, when they were in Ireland, let's say, or they are in Germany, did they petition the United States for permission to come to the United States, or did they just get on a boat and show up?
Well, I know they came to a port of entry where they made application to come to the United States, and as you may recall from history, Rick, many of them were turned down, but they did so in an orderly fashion.
Less than 0.5% were turned down, and that's because they had communicable diseases. When did we even start taking account? When did immigration even become illegal? Because prior to that, there was no such thing as legal immigration. Do you happen to know that?
Well, Rick, I'm not here to be quizzed on United States history. What I recognize is what is past as prologue, and in the immediate past, for the last quarter century precisely. Well, Rick, now, I didn't come here to play gotcha. I came here to answer questions about the here and now, and the here and now is in Arizona. If my opponent, John McCain, is reelected and continues with his amnesty plans, according to the Heritage Foundation, $2.6 trillion in Social Security and Medicare retirement benefits to illegals, granted amnesty, granted citizenship. I think that's a significant concern.
Let me ask you a question.
So we could quibble about history, or we could talk about the here and now.
Let's leave history alone. Do you know anything about the arguments coming from the other side regarding illegal immigrants? Because, I mean,
I hear their arguments all the time.
Do you think they make any contributions to life in America?
Well, I think that legal immigrants do.
No, illegal. Illegal.
I think that if we embrace, Rick, what you seem willing to do, embrace the myth of the noble migrant, to use the term, fails to take into account those who have come here. For example, infamously, within the last year, the so-called Chandler rapist who was doing a job with heavy equipment operation. You really don't want me to answer, do you?
No, I do, actually. Let me restate it, because I think maybe it was my fault.
What you rather do is be an advocate and debate.
No, I don't.
That's okay. Go ahead.
No, debate,
What's your point, Rick?
I do want to debate.
The floor is yours. It's your program. Go ahead.
Are you ready? Do you know of any benefits that have been provided to Americans by illegal immigrants? Any?
A steady stream of cheap labor for the right, and in some cases cheap votes for the left.
Do you know that there are $7 billion that is subsidized into your Social Security that someday you may be able to retire on, that was taken off the backs of illegal aliens who will never recover those Social Securities that they paid into?
Rick?
Study in the New York Times.
Well, that's precisely the point, isn't it? At once, you're asking us to protect a portion of society that can become a permanent underclass. And with reference to the $7 billion, how does that square with $2.6 trillion in...
Drats. I was so enjoying that conversation.